If you judge your workouts by how sore you are the next day, you're using a broken metric. Soreness doesn't reliably measure muscle growth. It doesn't even measure effort. It just measures one thing, and that's novelty. And novelty is not really a training goal. DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness. This is probably one of the most misunderstood topics in strength science. And I'm just going to explain what it actually is. By the end of this video, you'll know what it actually measures, what it is, why it disappears even when training is working, and why chasing it is one of the fastest ways to plateau. So I'm just going to explain what it actually is so it's easy for you to understand. When you perform a movement with a significant eccentric component or one that your body just hasn't literally adapted to yet, you create microstructural disruption in your muscle fibers. This is not really the micro tears versus mechanical tension debate. This is something different to that. And that disruption in the muscle fibers, it kind of triggers an inflammatory response. So I'm not going to go too much into detail, but immune cells basically do the work. They kind of move into the area, and inflammatory mediators kind of sensitize the pain um, in and around the muscle. So that sensitization is what you kind of feel as soreness 24 to 72 hours later. You don't really feel the damage itself, you just feel the inflammatory response to it. Critically, this process is governed by the repeated bout effect, meaning that the first time you expose a muscle to a novel stimulus, the damage and soreness are going to be significant. It's going to be large, and the second time, it's also going to drop significantly, even on the same or excess load. So it can drop from anywhere to roughly 50 to as much as 90% in the second time, which means that by the third or fourth exposure, soreness is going to be minimal or even absent. This is not really because you stopped growing, this is because your muscle kind of just adapted its structure to kind of better absorb that specific eccentric stress. The adaptation happened, and the soreness just stopped being the metric to track growth after that. So if soreness is a novelty signal and it disappears just as adaptation occurs, what do you actually track when you say good workout? Before I explain that, I'm just going to explain one of the problems I noticed, and we're just going to build into what we should actually measure. So this is something that I've noticed, especially with not even just newer gym goers, it's also with experienced people who may just not have the knowledge yet. Is that they kind of use soreness as their metric for growth forever, and the issue with that is that um it's going to disappear. As I explained, soreness is going to disappear, it's going to stop happening as frequently. And what these people do then is they change their exercise every like 1 to 2 weeks, and it's very common. You see a lot of people who change their exercise movements every 1 to 2 weeks because the exercise stops making them sore as their body kind of adapts to its movement. And the problem with this is that if you change your exercise every 1 to 2 weeks, you're never really going to be able to exploit the actual strength curve of any one lift. So you're perpetually just going to be starting over on every single time you change, just on your motor learning and just your body learning the patterns and adapting to it. And I feel what you should track instead, it's not even an I feel, it's objectively just better, is that you should kind of be tracking progressive overload on key movements through other metrics which are more objective, which keep occurring. They don't just disappear with adaptations. Things like volume, RP trends across a block, session to session performance consistency, even the willingness to show up to the gym is a good metric to track instead of just soreness by itself. And let me tell you something that might change the way you program for yourself or your clients tomorrow. So when I program for my clients, the first week of a new block, almost always I expect soreness to show up, a lot of soreness. Volume is lower in week one. It's like an intro week, specifically because the novel stimulus will produce DOMs and it will temporarily reduce capacity. So that's like something that we expect to happen to kind of see. And using that, moving on through the first block, we kind of understand the client's capacity, their volume tolerance, and all. But if they're still reporting significant DOMs in week 3 or 4 of the same block with the same exercises, that's kind of a flag because no, it's not because training is too hard, but it's because the adaptation to that movement is just not occurring normally. Could be insufficient protein, poor sleep, disrupting recovery. It could even just be a programming error of excessive volume creating damage faster than repair can kind of keep up. But that's the metric that we want to figure out in the first block, so we can use that as a baseline to program further on for that individual. Soreness in week one is information, soreness in week four is a problem, which is also information that you need to kind of learn how to fix. If there's no soreness at all while you're adding weight to the bar, That is actually good, and that should actually be the goal eventually. So don't chase soreness as like the metric for progress. Just thinking that that is the only thing that matters when it comes to progressing in the gym. Track your performance. Soreness is your body's novelty alarm. It's not really a progress report. And the faster you stop like kind of confusing both of them, the faster you're gonna grow. That's pretty much it. You can like subscribe or just go, or you could like follow my Insta page if you want to, or you can not if you don't want to. It's fine. I'll see you.